everybody. Anyone in the back that wants to come and join, you are more than welcome to come down. So it's a real honor and privilege to be able to be part of this amazing day and to be able to connect with so many of you. Now, in today's world, there are increasingly complex organizations that are facing significant technology and societal trends. And it's requiring us to think differently about our workforce. So unifying generations, sustainability, technology, modern ways of working, these are all complex and dynamic, and probably maybe keep some of you up at night, but they're definitely feeding into the hearts of our people strategy. So with this in mind, today what I wanted to do was to share with you the moments that have mattered in my experience to support people transformation. And this will include who I am, so the importance of achieving personal empowerment, that personal transformation, and then also talking about what I do. And this is with two hats that I have. One is with my TA hat, so that's talking about strategies and tools to support transformation within TA, and then with my other hat that I'm currently doing, which is personal transformation and how to unlock the potential of Gen AI. So let's just begin with why who I am is so important to me. So at the age of 40, nearly 4 years ago, I was able to say that I found my freedom and that I could say that I was enough, and actually proudly share with you these statements of who I am. So badass, challenging, tenacious, loving, and most importantly, be able to connect with that 22-year-old self me jumping out of a plane from at the age of 22 from New Zealand, out of New Zealand. So the best way to describe how I was living between these two me's is when you're swimming out to the ocean and then you're suddenly being pulled down by these riptides and this weighing, pulling down feeling, but you're trying to keep your head above water. You're just trying to survive. And for me, that weighing, pulling down feeling was of expectations of me, of being a good girl, making sure that I did what I should do rather than what I wanted to do, and making sure that I acted in the correct way. So I was constantly being labeled loud, like it was a really bad thing. But growing up as a female in an Indian community, it absolutely was. And then that pulling, weighing down feeling of limiting beliefs, that actually what matters more is what people think rather than how you feel. So this all manifested into my adult life, where I was constantly people-pleasing. I was prioritizing those roles we play. And for me, it was sister, daughter, friend, girlfriend. And I was constantly seeking external validation from others. So this resulted in my own burnout. And I dropped to the bottom of the sea, and I went into a depression. Now, this newfound freedom that I can proudly share with you today was born from a painful resurrection. I had to rip off the Band-Aid of my life. I had to face some harsh realities, but by doing so, I was able to find my voice, my truth. I was able to swim back up to the top of the ocean and keep swimming further down. And with that newfound energy, I'm able to firstly be able to look at these two me's and have this inner peace of happiness, but also I'm able to challenge thoughts and perceptions in my personal life, but also in my professional life. And really taking the time and connecting with who I am helped me to empower me to transform. So I now want to move on to the what I do part. So just wanted to reflect on the employee life cycle. So this is a holistic view, and there will be continual flow of employees joining and leaving at any one time for any organization. Now, as Ralph Waldo Emerson said, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And I really just wanted to take a moment just to reflect on that we're not just managing processes. We're not just caretakers. we're in this privileged position where we're shaping experiences that can make but also break employees' journeys. So I want you to really lean into those technology and those societal trends that I opened with, and really make sure that they are reflected in this cycle. Because at each stage, there is an opportunity that can significantly also impact the organization. And by taking the time to optimize and to streamline, can just have huge benefits for both employee and company. Today, I'm going to be talking about 4 of these. So attraction recruiting with my TA hat on, and development and retention with my people transformation hat on. So let's move on to attraction and recruiting. So nearly 3 years ago now, September 2021, I joined KPMG as the head of talent acquisition for tax and legal capability, looking after experienced hire. Now, week 2 of me joining, the biggest investment had been signed off that the firm had ever seen. And a significant proportion of this was given to my capability. So I thought, wow, this is brilliant. So I had to park those lovely, informal coffee chats, get to know that you normally do at the beginning of joining an organization. And I had to get down and dirty pretty quickly. So what I really needed to do was to understand what was happening, what was the landscape. So I started by creating focus groups. So this was with the business, hiring managers, senior leadership, anyone that had any involvement with recruitment processes, and then also with the TA team. Now, the insights and findings that I found from the business was they felt that the process approach was reactive, that the process was slow and clunky. They weren't sure who their TA contact was. They didn't feel that they had enough kind of market intelligence, external market intelligence of what was happening. They also felt that if they were losing candidates, it was because we weren't being clear enough about what differentiates us from our competitors, and how they weren't sure how we were helping them to achieve their IDE targets. On the TA side, they just felt that they were glorified mailboxes, and that they were just, pushing through CVs, collating interview feedback, processing offer letters. They didn't feel that they were part of that initial conversation, and weren't able to add value. So a lot to unpack. I'm sure a lot of these that you've probably heard or have come across yourself. But there were key messages from that. Firstly, for most of the partners that had been there for 10, 12 years and longer, this is one of the biggest opportunities for them to grow their team, their market share. There was a big disconnect between the business and the TA community. And what I was going to have to do was really kind of be really clear with guidance, process, strategy, and really it was a lot of changing of hearts and minds to be able to make this a success. So I had to digest all the insights, all the pain points, and really think about designing an approach and a strategy that was going to help me to lay the building blocks, but also support the investment at the same time. So I created kind of a mission statement and a North Star, and it was really just to bring everybody together on this transformational journey and to be really clear about what we wanted to achieve. So listing some of the pain points, making it proactively drive an inclusive recruitment process centered on enhancing the candidate experience, embedding in our values. What I then had to do was to demonstrate what were we actually going to do to be able to achieve this, and really then be able to demonstrate what a positive impact this was going to have on recruitment, attraction of candidates, and really having IDE at the heart of it. So I created 5 pillars. Within these pillars, you had reach, attraction, engage, process, and onboarding. Certain points I just want to kind of highlight is the creation of the candidate attraction pack. So this was to be used to engage with external candidates, but also active candidates as they were going through the process. It's a really powerful tool to be able to showcase who you are from an organizational level, but also from a team level. And also, it was a way for us to really drive home our inclusive culture. So we were able to showcase a fantastic employee networks. We've got 17 of them. We were able to drive home the point of how important CSR is for us. We offer 6 days additional to our employees. We're also able to show flexibility, what that means for us as an organization, not just how you can be flexible, but also in what way. And so it was a really, really powerful tool that was able to be used by the business, also by the recruiters, and they were able to bespoke it depending on the candidate that they were speaking to, depending on their motivations and needs. It was a way for us to really kind of open our doors and kind of really be bold and brave about who we are and really demonstrate that message out to candidates who maybe didn't know too much about our culture. The process side was that it was very evident that we were going to need to optimize and streamline the processes. So I put in a one-step formal interview process for any of the interviews that didn't require panel. But to do that, we needed to put governance around it. So all interviewers had to carry out interview training. They had to make sure that they had unconscious bias training. We also created diverse interview pools. So these pools were agreed at the beginning of the briefing call. And actually, the gift was given to the recruiter to decide on who was going to do the interviews. So it made sure that the same people weren't doing the interviews. It also allowed for a wider representation of who we are to the candidates, and it also helped with speed. So for some reason, if they couldn't make it for sickness or whatever, we could literally just put someone back in. So it made a huge difference. Now, all of this, all the transformation, cannot happen unless that third pillar, engage, is all humming, basically. And it really is about that power of collaboration and involving everyone, every team and every group of people on this wheel to be able to make it a success. So if we start with, for me personally, senior leadership. So that was my key stakeholder. So I had to come in, demonstrate my credibility, be able to get a seat at the table, get the buy-in, and have the opportunity to really share, drive, answer questions and challenges about what I wanted to achieve. Now, this isn't just about me. This is about making sure that this is reflected all across into the wider TA team. So we had to look at how we could build the credibility up within senior leadership, but also the business leaders, so the hiring managers that the rest of the team would be looking at. So we did this by hosting recruitment workshops. So we talked them through what we were looking to do, how we were going to do this, what was their role. We gave them LinkedIn training because some of them really didn't have a clue what to do. We worked on really key collaborative projects with them. So we looked at regretted leavers. We worked with them on looking at what the addressable diverse market is for some of their areas, especially some of the regional locations, to say, how can we try and change that? But it was really important because what it did, it helped to build that trust. Remember that disconnection piece that I got at the beginning with the feedback? And actually that was across all levels. And it started to make a real difference. And the talent acquisition team actually felt that they could be consultative and that they were actually part of that conversation. Now, I created working groups because, again, this can't happen without brand, without the IDE team, employee networks, HR. It is very much a group effort to make sure that we can actually attract and recruit the right people. So it was very much about bringing everybody together. It created less of this silo type of work and duplication work that you actually find, and it brought everybody together. So actually there was a real commonality. And everyone just felt like they knew what they were doing, and it was just a lot more fun. So all of this together helped us in a 12-month period of time. We doubled the amount of headcount that we hired. So we went from normally kind of BAU was probably circa around 300. We went to 600 and hired or onboarded 27 partners within that period of time. So let's move on to development and retention. So this is with my second hat and with my current role. So I'm seconded at the moment in the people transformation team. Now, we are at the forefront of driving people transformation. So at KPMG, what we've done is we've deliberately and intentionally begun a program to enable our people strategy. And this is very much focusing on streamlining and transforming priority processes and also the employee experiences. And this is all to help with the retention and the development of our team. Now, what's really, really important is talking about Gen AI. And this is what I want to talk about today. Now, I wanted to just start with debunking some of those myths. And firstly, it's the Hollywood portrayal of a very cute Wall-E here, but it's very far from the AI that's being integrated in our workplace today. And then you've got some of these other myths that will replace human roles, will replace employees, threaten jobs. Now, Gen AI is more akin with your autocorrect feature on your phone. And I'm sure we've all got a funny story that we can share about that feature. What it actually does, it solely focuses on the task, but the task requires human input. So it's not this autonomous superintelligence robot. It actually lacks self-awareness, it lacks conscious thinking, and it lacks independent thought. So actually, it's a tool that's shaped and guided by human input. So instead of automating jobs, it actually augments work with Gen AI. And it's very powerful in creating this symbiotic relationship between humans and technology. Now, for the employees, it means that they're free from mundane, repetitive tasks. Tick. They have increased capacity to be able to really focus on the human element of their role, the value add, so they're able to be innovative, creative, strategic. Tick. Allows them to learn new skills. Tick. And then for the organizations, it helps to increase productivity in the right areas and helps to support in development and retention of their staff as well. Now, the big challenge is, where do you start? And I hear this a lot, and it comes up a lot. Where do you start? Like, how do you launch and scale a successful Gen AI program? Well, I'm really super excited to share that I have a solution. And this is very much hot off the press. So as part of the people transformation team, we've teamed up with our colleagues in the consulting practice, and we're currently, at the moment, carrying out a Gen AI value assessment tool. And this is just for the people function at the moment. Now, the People in Change team, what they've done is they've developed a data-driven tool. And this tool is able to identify the work that can be augmented and which can then be supported and delivered by Gen AI. So this is going to help you to identify where to put your right investment. It's going to help you to know where you can prioritize it. And it's going to help you to understand cost and growth opportunities. So, how does this work? So currently, and as I said, this is real time and it's currently at the moment. So we are in phase one. And what happens is that you input your job relevant data, so your JDs, into the large language model. And this then draws upon industry research, external benchmarking, like World Economic Forum, ONET, and it creates a list of tasks. And these tasks are listed with number one being the most amount of time that the individual will spend on this. Now, I'm just going to pause there because that's actually where we are in the process. So, but I'm going to tell you I wanted to share with you, I just thought it was a fantastic opportunity to be able to share this with you all. And also I want to give you an idea of the learnings and how powerful it's been. So do you remember I told you about it's a tool that needs to be shaped and guided? So what we've been doing is we've been training the tool to better understand our organization. So when it's looking at those responsibilities in the job descriptions, actually, what does that mean for your organization? And we did this by doing a validation exercise. So we took a sample of about 10% of the number of roles and made sure that it was representative across all the people functions. And we got the tool to bring out a list of tasks, but also a little bit more detailed. So actions that were then related to that task. And then we asked the SME to evaluate this. So we asked them to look at the tasks. Were they correct? The actions, were they correct? If there were any missing, what was missing. But there was another lens we looked at. It was like, why were they missing? So was it because they were missing because they weren't on the job description? So again, kind of thinking about how accurate are our job descriptions to the roles that our employees are doing? Or was it because the tool actually missed them? And then just looking at the top 5 tasks, were they correct? So we had a benchmark of accuracy of 80% or more, and actually 90% were 80% or more, which was a really good stat. 2 of them were just, the job description did not reflect the role at all, so they were just off. They are ring-fenced and they're being written at the moment again. And interestingly enough, the missing tasks and actions were actually, majority of them were just not on the job description. So it was really, so the success and the power of the tool was really good. And then all that data that basically has been trained then goes back into the tool, and it then increases that accuracy. And then the other way for it to learn more about your organization is what you put in at the beginning. So what do you feed it in? So what's the values of your organization? What's your inclusivity policies? You know, what drives it? All of that then basically helps to create. So what you will get is a list of tasks that will come out. Then these tasks are assessed. So I'm going to give you an example here, because I know you want to know what happens afterwards. So these tasks are then assessed against the 5 key disruptors of Gen AI. Content generators, chat bots, language translators. And it pulls out what's the impact of having Gen AI would have on that task, and then what would be that capability. And then after that, it will then be able to say how much time for that individual role will be saved because of that. And so then after that, you can then overlay other impacts. So you can then say, okay, this is what you've got. What could the ID impact be for our neurodiverse community? What impact would that have? Or what would that impact have on our non-FTE workers? Would that help when people are coming back from long-term sick? So as I said, this is real time. But I wanted to give you an example of how powerful this tool is. And then once you've got all that, you then kind of move into phase 2, which is really reshaping the work and the workforce. Identify which tech solutions to implement. I mean, we know there are so many tech solutions out there, but you know, at least you then, by having this data-driven view, you're able to really understand and prioritize where you want to go and where you want to spend your money, which is really super important. There will be some reskilling and upskilling of learning on how to use these tools. I think this is an important one. You're going to be doing things differently. This is going to be changing of culture. People are going to have to let go of some of the ways that they've been doing things. So that support around making sure that people are really comfortable with doing things differently. And ultimately, this helps to then transition to the future. So, as I said, if you'd like to follow and keep following on that journey, then please come and connect with me. If you'd like to hear more about the assessment tool, again, come and speak to me and we can set up a meeting. So my final thoughts. So there was a lot there on all kind of forms of transformation, but I think that just kind of evidence that in every form and wake of our life, there is some, we are always transforming or have the ability to. Key things I just wanted to highlight, that stakeholder engagement piece. You know, to transform, you need their buy-in. To transform, you really need to listen to what they need and provide provide those solutions. Be curious. There will be new things coming at us all the time. Ask the questions, be open, don't be afraid, be fearless. And you don't have to know everything, it's okay. Or you could, just like me, just had a complete brain freeze, but that's okay as well, right? Agility, be agile. You might move in one direction, and then probably to no fault of your own, you might have to pivot and go another way. Again, just embrace it and be okay with it. But also be agile with listening to other people and other ideas and other ways of doing things as well. The creation of working groups, it was a real game changer for me. Bring everybody along on that journey for you, because that's going to be really powerful in making that transformation a success. And you matter. Bringing it back to where I started from, the transformation doesn't always about what you're doing or for your employee or even for others, but really taking that time for yourself is equally as important. And just finally, be the change that you want to see. So just do it. The power that you can have just by just doing something, and then people actually just seeing you do it, it can be spectacular. Thank you.
Thank you very much.